At 7:15, in his State of the Union, President Obama talked about the progress made last year and what he plans to do to make the country's money situation better. And the president warned of the upcoming battle with Congress. Joe Krier, president of Krier Wealth Management, here to talk about how these financial issues apply to us. First, let's talk about the investment markets, because the bottom line is they had a decent year in spite of the continued turmoil.
Yeah, in the end, the markets were up about 15% last year. Along the way, it had two major corrections that scared the heck out of everybody, but the markets did trudge along as the economy sort of slumbers through the bottom of this cycle here.
All right, that's looking back. Let's talk about the market forecast and look ahead a little bit.
Yeah, and it's starting the year off quite well. A lot of prognosticators' numbers have already actually been hit, and the market is up against the all-time highs that it hit once in the year 2000 and again in 2007. And we don't need to talk about what happened shortly after those last two times we were at this level. However, this time it's a little bit of a different story. There's a lot of things pushing money towards the markets, and the third time is often the charm in the markets. Corporate America is actually in a little bit better shape than it was the last two times we were at these levels.
So you're optimistic as we move through 2013 here?
I am, and there's two parts to this. The stock market is one part, the bond market is a whole different part, and a lot of people don't realize the bond market's 5 times bigger than the stock market. Well, the bond market's taking it on the chin, and as you know, yields are low on savings, CDs, and bonds, so people are looking to other avenues to try to generate growth with their investments.
How about some political benchmarks that could, well, basically send the market and the economy in either direction?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up as outlined in the State of the Union. March 1st, we have the sequestration, $85 billion of mandatory spending cuts, and the tone in Washington is kind of acknowledging, hey, this is going to be a battle down to the last minute. Then we go to March 27th, and it's funding for appropriations in government agencies. And then by the time we get to May, we're talking about another debt ceiling debate. So there's plenty that's going to come out of Washington that you'll be talking a lot about here on the set.
Is the big issue here whether or not practicality rules or politics gets in the way?
Well, we always know politics gets in the way, and it seems that in the end, it's going to be short-term fixes that ignore the long-term problems. And the good news is Washington's kind of been in that mode for 20 years, and it hasn't completely blown up yet. So they're probably going to keep pushing this down the road. And the Republicans are sort of regrouping after the election loss. And I think there might be a little bit more of a conciliatory tone to these debates than we've seen in recent months.
But if we keep pushing and we don't deal with reality, are we postponing what some people say is the inevitable?
I think so, and I mean, it's clear that the way politics is, you can't really inflict short-term pain on your constituents and get reelected. And, if both sides have to play this game, solving the long-term problems does mean a lot of pain inflicted on voters, and they just don't want to do that. Eventually, the world will lose confidence in us, and they'll force us to solve our problems. And at that point, I'm confident they'll sit down, shake hands, and actually get this fixed. Could be pretty ugly when we get to that point, though.
In the end, does President Obama get what he wants in the way of revenue hikes?
I think so. He's got a lot of leverage right now, and as I mentioned, the Republicans are sort of regrouping, and they're kind of looking, okay, we've got another election 4 years out. How can we look a little bit better as we do that? So Obama's got the upper hand now, and he wants to get his agenda through as quick as possible so he can perhaps leave a positive legacy as he leaves office in a few years.
Joe Krier, Krier Wealth Management. Appreciate you being here.